Thanks for stopping by with another edition of the Great Red Capital Gains Shark. We have a little presentation on capital gains deferral techniques that might be of a special interest to property and business owners. And we're going to cover a couple of these techniques real quick in a brief fashion, probably focusing more on charitable trusts than anything else. So in the past, we've talked about capital gains. So we already know what capital gains is. That is a discount over ordinary income tax. But if you have the opportunity to tweak it even further, the advantages can be even better, mathematically at least. So your choices when you're dealing with capital gains tax is you really only have a couple of choices in general. And this is for everything in the United States. This is United States tax law we're talking about. So for capital gains, you can either pay the tax, you can defer the tax, or you can try to do some sort of tax removal strategy, which would be offsetting with other gains, or a charitable technique that by law actually allows you to withdraw the tax advantage altogether instead of deferring it. So here are the different tax codes. To the best of my knowledge, these are the only tax codes that you have to worry about if you're dealing with anything related to capital gains. And by far the most common are going to be IRC 453, which is an installment sale, and IRC 1031, which is a like-for-like exchange. But you have different flavors of those, and you may hear a bunch of acronyms and a bunch of techniques that are layered into these. But essentially, an installment sale says if you are selling a appreciated asset of some sort, then your capital gains tax is limited to the payments that you receive in the year that you receive those payments. And there's rules behind that, but that's the basics. A 1031 exchange of some sort involves a like-for-like exchange. Now, that can be based on depreciation schedule more often than not, but it can include things like collector cars, digital currency, artwork, rare coins or stamps, things like that, that appreciate in value over time. If you choose to sell and not retain the profits, you can defer those profits and wrap the basis into another purchase. Then we have a couple of other ones. Probably the most common that you might hear about, aside from the 453 installment sales and the 1031 exchange, is a variant of the 1031 exchange called a Section 721 UPREIT, which is just a slightly different flavor. But the big cheese whiz here is going to be the charitable trust, because everything else is a tax deferral technique, right? But with a charitable trust, you actually remove the tax, and you actually remove the depreciation recapture if you've depreciated the asset. So almost in every situation that you run across, a charitable trust or one of the variants is going to be the most mathematically beneficial strategy to consider when you want to address capital gains tax. Now, the only downside is you're giving something to charity, right? So there's ways to address that with a competent professional. But when you decide to do some sort of gift to charity, it's going to be defined on when that gift occurs. It can be either a present gift of a future value, or a present gift, or a future gift of a present value. And what they do is they have a mathematical formula, which is roughly the same formula as a mortgage note, that determines the term and the applicable rate, and then the payment schedule or the allowable payments that are made. So there is a difference between public and private charities. If you wanted to go this route, you can choose your own private charity and or foundation. And the limit is you get a slightly smaller tax deduction for the calculated value of that gift to charity. But if you went with a public charity, such as Red Cross or Salvation Army, you get a slightly larger deduction for whatever the calculation is of the current gift to that charity. The income streams that you get a little bit of leeway when you figure out what you're getting in return for this gift. You can get a interest only income stream. You can get a principal and interest income stream, or you can get a fixed amount over a fixed term. They also have a couple of variations where you can hold in reserve payments over time and then take them in one big windfall and recognize them then. So a lot of flexibility with charitable trust variants. And what usually guides the choice that you have when you're dealing with capital gains is going to be the end all net mathematical benefit. That's the biggest concern because there's always going to be one situation that's going to be more mathematically beneficial than others. And then you got to weigh the pros and cons of that particular choice. As an example, with a charitable gift, obviously you're giving something to charity, and that goes away from your family and it goes away from you. And in addition to that, right, you get an income stream, you don't get a lump sum. So it's kind of like saying, do you want to have the lottery all at once, or do you want to receive it over 20 years? And we all know how many problems there are with people that win the lottery and they get it all at once. Um, oh, the humanity, that's MC Hammer, right? That there's a laundry list of folks that get windfalls and then outspend themselves. It's very common. So either you succeed at that or you don't. But a charitable trust, as an example, you don't get to play with the after-tax proceeds directly. You just get the income stream based off of that. So let's wrap this particular presentation up. But here's some tax codes once again for further investigation. And we wish you the best for your capital gains treatment technique and its ultimate success.